So welcome to another series. This series is about NumPy, which is called Numerical Python. It's a library of Python where which is used to analyze data and stuff. So why NumPy? I have two screens. On the right, I have my Jupyter notebook, and on the left, I have another screen with the documentation. So I'll just walk you through the documentation and explain you the code, in my Jupyter notebooks. As you can already see that I have already imported NumPy as NP. So what is the story behind importing NumPy as NP? It's some people, the people are following the convention of naming NumPy as NP, so that it's just a convention, so that nobody gets confused somewhere down the line in the code. If you name NumPy as AB, so you don't know what AB means, and then you have to scroll all the way up, come up, and then see what AB stands for. So NP is just a variable. You can replace it with anything, but NP is conventional. So we'll put it that way. Let's look at how NumPy is imagining things. I mean, how we imagine things and use NumPy for data analysis. First of all, every data, to analyze every data, you need to make it analyzable, and NumPy makes this possible using arrays. So NumPy arrays is a very interesting topic. We'll dive deep into NumPy arrays topic very shortly. But let's look at how you know what are the types of data, what are the formats of data we can analyze using NumPy. You can analyze images, audio clips, text, and documents, which is like in text, and so on and so forth. So many, but primarily we'll be using NumPy for these. So you can imagine NumPy for images. Like, you can imagine an image, and then you can divide the image into cubes, then squares. Sorry, you can imagine an image, and you can slice that image into squares, and each square represent a array element. It becomes a 2 by 2 array, and each element of that array represents the intensity of RBG color. So each element of that array holds intensity of RBG color. RBG is red, blue, and green. So these three intensities varying these three intensities can create any color possible. So that is how you can analyze the images. And then comes the sound clips, voice clips, sound clips. So you can imagine a sound clip as a 1D array, one dimensional array, where each element of that array is holding the intensity of sound. And what else? You can also see that text. Suppose you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G to Z. So each element of the array would hold the binary equivalent of the alphabet. So in this way, NumPy can rearrange every kind of data type or data format into arrays, and then start analysis. So let's see how NumPy has, what are all the functions NumPy has, and what are all the operations and inbuilt functions we can use in NumPy. Here I'm using the inbuilt array which NumPy has, and this array is a fixed type array, whereas in Python you will be having a heterogeneous array. You can create heterogeneous arrays, but in NumPy you cannot. The type, I mean, every element should be the same type. Every element should be an integer or either a string. So NumPy has this restriction in creating the array, that every element should be of the same type. This array would take a list, and you can feed a list to the array, and you can see that an array has been created, and the numbers are 1 to 5. So if you want, you can also mention the type in this. So let's look at this, 2, 4, 5, and you can also give it a data type as float 32. So if you do this, you would see that the numbers are represented in a floating point, 1.2 2 point, 3 point, 4 point, etc. uh, yeah, this is how you can restrict numpy arrays in accepting the type of the data which numpy array would accept. So that was about array which is inbuilt in numpy. We will look at this d type is equals to this thing. We have so many like int 8, int 16, int 32, int 64. Then we have float 32, we have float 16, then we have float 64. Then we also have complex, we have like complex 32 and complex 64. So there are so many data types which this array numpy array supports. I'll put a cheat sheet kind of screenshot here or on the screen. You can just have a look. This was a basic basic thing about numpy array. So first thing to remember about arrays is they are fixed type in numpy, whereas in Python, the conventional Python language, they are heterogeneous, but here they are fixed type. So a few basic functions which NumPy supports is you can create something called zero array by giving the size 10 and d type. You can give it int. So what has happened? NumPy has no attribute 0. Sorry, it's zeros. So here you can see that NumPy has a NumPy has a function called zeros, which take how many number of zero elements, which can take arguments like number of zeros you want and what is the type of data type, the data type that you want. If you want, you can replace it with float 32 and it will give you a floating point zero array. So sometimes you need to initialize an array for experimental purposes, like you need a empty array, etc. For that kind of stuff, you need this function. The argument can also be given as, if you want a 2 by 2, 3 rows and 4 columns, 3 rows and 4 columns, rows and columns separated by comma. And if you want, you can give d type. It's your wish. If you see this, okay, again the same mistake, it's zeros. So here we go. We have created an empty 3 by 4 matrix having all zeros. So as I already said, this is used for initializing arrays if you want to experiment things. And then you have another useful function of NumPy is all ones. So here also, if you want a single row, you can just give it as 10, or if you want an 2 by 2, then you can just give like 3 comma 5, and it will create a 3 by 5 matrix all having 1. I think the default data type is float. We can change that using int. Yeah, as you can see, we have created a matrix of 3 rows and 5 columns. For those who are new with the Jupyter Notebook, if you want to run any cell, you just press shift plus enter. You run the cell and you go to the next cell. If you want to run only the cell, you just control enter and you run the cell, but you don't go to the next cell. If you want to run the cell and as well as go to the next cell, you can just press shift enter and you will run the cell and you will go to the next cell. Now another example would be, another function of numpy would be np.full, and I'll let you guess what this function is doing. It's 3,5 and it's 5.5. It will create an array of size 3,5 and it will fill the array with the number 5.5. You can see the array has been filled with a similar number. The functions which I told you, the zeros, ones, and the full, these are all used to initialize a dummy array or an identity array, not an identity, but a dummy arrays, or you want an array full of zeros or ones to experiment with another arrays. So like that. So the next one is an important one, which is also available in conventional Python language, which is called range, but here it's called a range. So many people confuse this function with arrange. It's not arrange, it's a range. So it's similar. You give a starting point, and from 0 to what is that? From 0 to, yeah, 10, I guess. Where is that? From 0 to 20. If you give this, you will get an array of 0 to 20. That would stop at 19. So you need to remember this. If you are initializing anything in Python from 0 to 20, the pointer would stop before 20, that is at 19. So another thing which you can do with this is np.arange, and 0 to 20, this takes another argument called step, which means you can skip the elements. You can skip 2 elements. Let's put 2 and see what happens. You can see it skipped 1 and jumped to the second. So what this step is doing is, it starts from here, takes one jump to 1, takes a second jump to 2, which means it will return the number on which the jump has landed. Like you can see, from 0 it took 2 jumps, 1 and 2, and it's not reporting you 3. By the way, it's giving you 2, so it's giving you second number. So likewise every other element. So these functions will help you to create or initialize arrays which you want to use or to experiment with them. Another function is np.linspace. Yeah, you read it as line space and you'll remember it better. I would recommend you to pronounce or use the whole word, like in this. Okay, I'll come to that later, but if you are using any function, pronounce it completely, or tell the name completely. Don't go like linspace, like go properly like linspace, and you would remember that better. So this linspace would be doing, what this linspace would be doing is, it will take a range 0 to 5. So this is basically creating spaces. Look at the code. You will be it takes 3 arguments: starting point, ending point, and the number of bins you want. If you want 10, then it will give you like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. As you can see, 0 to 5, the range 0 to 5 has been divided equally in 10 parts. I'll give you a better example. np.linspace, you have 0 to 20 in 5 different spacing. So here you can see, from 0 to 20 in the divisions of 5. You can divide the range into desired number of parts. You don't have to memorize these functions at any time. You can just go to NumPy documentation, np ? and click enter, shift enter, and you will enter the NumPy documentation. But then I would recommend you, as you go on in your, you do projects and then learn from those projects what are the extensively used NumPy functions. In that way you will be learning the most important functions. So for now, don't memorize any of these functions. You just have to know what NumPy could do, and you can eventually Google Google stuff. So you just have to know what NumPy could do. That's it.